The ROG Xbox Ally X is a great handheld PC gaming device that I've covered quite extensively over the last few weeks. But what more can you do with this product that perhaps makes it an instant buy for someone who isn't looking for frame rate crunching games and handling power limits in order to get things to run properly? I thought to myself, how well would this device work as a console handheld hybrid, and what sort of limitations are there when connecting the unit to a TV and using it as a couch co-op gaming hub? So I did just that. I decided to test out the ROG Xbox Ally X connected to my TV and see whether or not it makes for a decent alternative for those who want a large format option and perhaps want to play games with their friends and family. First off, you'll need some extra accessories to make this dream a reality. Most importantly, you'll need to be able to connect the unit to your TV. You can do this in multiple ways. Both USB-C ports on the ROG Xbox Ally X output video, but you don't get a cable in the box. Surprisingly enough, all the Nintendo Switch 2 dock replacement cables I've been testing for the past few months work on the ROG Xbox Ally X. The cable essentially sends video to the TV while at the same time charges the unit thanks to the USB-C input. There is a catch though. You need to make sure to use the power adapter that comes with the ROG Xbox Ally X, or a power adapter that is equivalent or higher wattage, else you'll be outputting TV signal and slowly drain the battery. But you can also just use any HDMI to USB-C adapter without worrying about the charging and outputting video at the same time, because you can use the second USB-C port on the unit for power delivery. That way one USB-C is being used for the display and one USB-C is being used for the charging. But setting up the unit on the TV is much easier than it sounds. Video output works like any notebook screen mirror feature. I could select the main display and choose whether or not I wanted to mirror the display or make it a primary. At default, the ROG Xbox Ally X just outputs one primary display, but you can change that in the Windows settings. For the sake of this content, I decided to keep it as my primary. Keep in mind that the ROG Xbox Ally X might technically be a PC, but the unit isn't as powerful as, say, a fully fledged console or PC build. This means outputting 4K to a TV might be possible, but gaming at 4K will prove to be a challenge, depending on how old the game is. But before I tested out the games, I had to see whether or not I was able to connect enough controllers to the device and if it was able to handle everything connected at the same time. I used 4 DualSense controllers for this test because that would likely be the most players you could have when you're playing couch co-op. You'll need to make sure these controllers are charged beforehand or have chargers nearby, because of course the ROG Xbox Ally X doesn't have any additional ports available to charge them while you're gaming. Just keep that in mind. Pairing the controllers didn't take too long. I initiated the pairing process on the controllers by holding down the share button and the PS button. But remember, I had to hold down the PS button and the circle button first to assign the ROG Xbox Ally X to the second preset on the controller. Remember, now you can assign up to 4 presets on the DualSense controllers, meaning you can have 4 devices paired at the same time. That way the ROG Xbox Ally X is paired to a separate slot, so I don't always turn on my PS5 when powering on the controller. But if you have 4 Xbox wireless controllers, this is much easier, as Windows will ask to pair them when you just hold down the sync button. Even navigating to the Bluetooth settings on the ROG Xbox Ally X was simple, and I didn't need to go into the Windows 11 desktop settings itself. I just pressed the Xbox button, went into settings, Bluetooth, and clicked on add device. It was all doable with the buttons on the actual unit itself. All 4 controllers paired quite easily and managed to stay connected and keep their connection all at the same time. So I tested out some games. The idea here is to see whether the ROG Xbox Ally X can run some basic couch co-op titles, and for the most part it did a decent job. I tested out games like Sonic All-Stars Racing, I played some Portal 2 and other titles. I did hit a snag at first with the controller issues, but once I enabled Steam input options for every game, the device didn't really care what controller I was using, and even the older games like Sonic Racing that only had Xbox controller support worked with the DualSense controller. Of course, scaling challenges did arise on the unit. It is connected to a 4K TV, so it is expected. Games had to be greatly scaled down to work properly and run at a smooth frame rate. I also had to manually change the resolution on each game because at default the unit switched to the 4K and stayed there. I could just manually reduce this in the Windows settings though. Essentially, you only really need to have 3 controllers to make this work, because one user can actually use the ROG Xbox Ally X itself. But if you want to have the unit propped on the TV shelf looking all nice and sexy and you don't have to worry about cabling, then I wouldn't recommend using the unit. Remember that in order to disable the ROG controller on the device itself so that games don't think it is player 1, you'll need to pair the other controllers and then press the arm recreate button on the unit, Go down to emd controller settings and disable it. That way the buttons on the unit itself won't register as player 1. Thankfully, once all of this was enabled, the only button that works on the unit is the armory crate, so you can just press it again and use the paired controller to go down and re-enable the emd controller setting. I think this whole sort of setup changes the ROG Xbox Ally X into a console-like PC hybrid experience similar to, say, the Nintendo Switch 2. Granted, the Windows experience can get in the way here and pairing controllers can be a chore, but once you have it all set up, I thought it was a great alternative to having a full PC around. Granted, some games had to be greatly scaled down and often had to be run on low settings, but I think the whole novelty of playing together on the couch outweighs the shoddy visuals. Games like Jackbox Party, which don't even need additional controllers, are also a fantastic option here. You would just launch it on the device itself and get everybody to join in using their phones. You can just play the game without having to worry about pairing controllers. Just don't expect everything to be as smooth sailing here. Like the general user experience on the unit itself, attaching this to a TV comes with its own challenges. Resolution changes resulted in mid-sized windows and wonky tab placements, not to mention the amount of times the sound didn't know it had to change to the TV and kept coming out the ROG Xbox Ally X unit itself. It is a generally quite buggy experience and you'll need some patience here not to throw this thing against the wall. But overall, I think the idea of expanding this to the big screen and making it something the whole family can enjoy when needed is a pretty awesome feature that many people don't pay attention to. But at the same time, it isn't for the weak of heart. Various technical issues did come my way that forced me to troubleshoot resolution problems, and sometimes games just wouldn't even close properly. So I often had to end up disconnecting the unit from the TV output so that I can use the touchscreen on the device to actually get around and close things properly. Sure, these technical issues can get in the way, but after finding permanent ways around them, I must say the experience was quite smooth and we had a good time. Just be prepared to deal with issues if they do come up, and chances are they probably will come up, but we spend more time playing and less time sorting out nonsense. So is this something that you would use your ROG Xbox Ally X for? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're here, please do check out my ROG Xbox Ally X review I have up on the channel, and be sure to subscribe for future content like this. Until next time, farewell.